To start with, let's start with something on a different note. You just talked about, we hear about what Bajaj Alliance have been doing as well. Now, my first question starts with a typical journey from a pilot to profitability. So, based on your experience, how has been this journey, especially for Asian Paints, moving from simple pilots and doing all the way up to a full-scale implementation and realizing the end value?
I think the poll that we just had actually reflects, that sentiment very, aptly. I think it talked about strategic priorities. It talked about relevancy of, or getting the data right. So I think in my own experience, in our own experience, I think those are two very important elements, right? So strategic priorities may be a big word, but I think in the realm of AI, getting the use case right, I think is the real killer, right? You can get excited a lot with technology and what it can achieve, but being absolutely correct on what the benefit is and how it will get leveraged is important. Looking at, for us and for many industries, it could be how you're really going to influence consumer experience, because that's where the real value, comes in. It could also be in our industry, it's also about supply chain efficiencies. How do you get in, better algorithms and better AI techniques to be enabled to make things more efficient over there.
Yeah.
So I think that's one domain, from pilot to, getting it to real life examples, getting the use cases right,
Right.
is important. The other one, data, I would broadly classify it as, getting the plumbing right.
So maybe just keep having this conversation going. I'll add my 2 cents as well on this. So I think path to profitability, especially with having all these pilots and the new tech keeps coming in. I think 100% agree is the right strategic use case that is coming in, or set of use cases that are coming in. I call them as value pools. That these are within a function. There are 4 to 5 big use cases that are coming in, and if we can do those use cases in tandem, then the coordinated value would be significantly higher there. So one of use cases definitely helps, but thinking through in a function that, okay, these are the 4 or 5 big use cases that can impact a function, and then having a very strong, quick pilot. I mean, start small but scale very fast. I think that is what the key is. And I think the other part is more learning. I mean, don't be afraid of failing fast. But how do you see cross-functional teams coming together and delivering the impact at a last mile?
So I think in space of AI, I think the silos of teams or functions have to really be broken, right?
Yeah.
So it's no more the privilege of any one team or function to get in or introduce the concept of AI. It's all pervading. I think all of us, as users, as elements across functions would be using various elements, whether it's co-pilots, whether it's Gen AI functionalities, etc. So that is important. But at the same time, I think expertise and skills in specific areas is extremely important. So getting the right mix of the technology teams to ensure that you understand how the model is working, how it can scale up, how the pipelines for data will be built to ensure and sustain the model, but not losing sight of what the as we call it, what's the prompt engineering that you need to do to mimic what the end user is really going to ask,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Or what's going to make the solution very effective.
We talk about AI use cases, we talk about cross-functional team, but what about a bigger picture about, let's say, the first of all, an AI strategy? What kind of a AI strategy what we are looking for? What are the components that we need to be thinking about as we talk about strategy? It's a big word, 1 or 2 fancy frameworks, or what is those components, and how does it tie with the overall business strategy? Maybe I'll start off and I'll hand it to you then. So I believe that yes, AI strategy roadmap is definitely needed. No matter people keep saying that, oh, there's a new technology coming in every 4 months or every quarter, how can a strategy piece remain stable and we can live with that? We can march to that roadmap or that beat. Well, I think that's also the challenge there. That yes, businesses are evolving, and so is technology. But heading there without a good solid roadmap is also not the best of the idea. You still need to think of, yes, the right set of business imperatives, the set of use cases, the processes that this new technology can reimagine this new set of processes, be it your data, be it your algorithms, including your AI, Gen AI, agentic, and future, whatever it comes in, and of course, the whole tech platform. So you have to think through in a more holistic way and at the same time push yourselves to rehash your strategy every, let's say, quarter or every 6 months or so. Just challenge yourself that if I need a rehash of that or not. And of course, least to say that it has to be super aligned with the business strategy or the business goals of the organization there.
Right? One is the whole the computational power that now AI has got leverage to be able to deliver results much faster. So things what used to take probably days can be done in minutes or maybe seconds. So I think that was one fundamental change.
True.
The other is the pace of some of the technology components, largely the ability to manage large data pipelines, and obviously moving to the cloud and getting the scalability of the platforms. So I think these are the two fundamental things change. Wearing the CIO hat, I think how we are able to strategize and get our architectures right to
True.
be able to leverage these two elements is an extremely important thought, right?
True.
You have to invest early and maybe put in some platform so that you are able to manage this.
Correct.
Else, there could be a plethora of things floating around, right? And functions being functions would also leverage and try and bring up technology components.
Given the advent of technology, and there's new technology every quarter, every year, how do you keep this roadmap relevant? How do you rehash this? At what frequency? What kind of a challenges do you throw it to yourself to keep this roadmap more pertinent and more relevant to the business, especially in the light of new technologies?
So we organized the AI Day, I think, in the month of Feb for the senior leaders in India. So most of them were here. So we invited 6 partners, so like EY, Cognizant, PwC, and 3 startups, Tridiagonal, 10th Pin, so 6 partners. So basically to give them what is art of possible. And I think now everyone understands what is possible within AI. So in the month of May, June, we have put up an entire roadmap for the business for the next 2 years. With that, also at a group level, we are working on the InfoSec policy, right? So our legal team and the information security team has created a SOP which will get rolled out either this month or next month, how we basically don't risk any data or we are compliant to all the regulatory policies, everything. So that is also put in place. And there's additional step which is being put in place in the architecture. At a group level, what should be the architecture to support all these AI initiatives?
But based on your experience, what have you seen the key levers for, let's say, a long-term value and a sustained value? More importantly, a sustained value. What are some of your experience and levers that you have seen organizations need to use to get to this long-term and a sustained value? By, of course, through AI.
So I said, I think what's core to the business is will give you the maximum value, right? So I think that's any technology component that you put there will be core. So for us, supply chain efficiencies were always very core to us. How do you get the distribution channel more efficient? So using algorithms and maybe latest techniques which would also leverage AI solutions in that are our early steps that we had taken. So using those and continuing to use them. As I said, AI doesn't stop when you put it out there. I think it continues. You have to be at it, and to ensure that you continue to reap the benefits, you have to keep working on it, right? So I think some of those elements, as we move more from a paints only to a decor space, I think the areas around the consumer experience, providing not just show and make it happen kind of scenarios where you want to give the consumer the experience using AI technologies, visualization layers, and then making it possible in your home. Again, using good tools and AI-driven tools to be able to execute that. and ensure that what you promised as part of the visualization is available on site, right?
You mentioned about mapping right set of people, and Ashish also mentioned about, let's say, reimagining the functions and so on and so forth. Based on your experience and in your organization, how critical is it for a very collaborated cross-functional team running together for a last mile value delivery? Be it reimagining a function or a process, or be it doing a set of use cases, or even one use case going live till and doing that at scale.
Well, I think across functional collaboration is the key for success of any, I would say, AI-related initiative or any initiative, I would say. For example, the point I missed earlier was, so for example, the artificial intelligence KRA, which we are delivering in the business. So I am co-owning with the R&D head, right? So I am the lead, and with me there is a R&D head who is co-owning the artificial intelligence adoption within Piramal Pharma. So that's the key, right? And also, like I said, so we have people from all the manufacturing sites, all the regions. We have supply chain, we have operation excellence, we have project management. So the commercial side of our organization, because we are into CDMOs mainly, so where we basically meet the demands of our customer like GSKs, Tevas, Pfizer. So we use Salesforce aggressively. So I think we have created, like I said, almost 18, 20 people cross collaboration, across function collaboration. Plus, we have set up a COE. We were just waiting for our info security policy, which has been drafted last month. So I think we'll get more into execution mode. We are signing NDAs with our partners. So I think, and also one of the things which we are unveiling is a name for our AI journey. So we have selected, we had given 3 names, so we have got 1 name. So hopefully we will unveil it on Friday. So again, so there's a lot of action happening on the AI. So I think maybe in the next couple of months, there will be more success stories to share on that.
Why would a business person also put his skin in the game in an AI project? And most often than not, AI projects, we always say it's a business projects there. So how does this two in a box operate? And do you sign common KPIs? How do you deliver the last mile impact?
Yeah. So, see, before Piramal, I worked with GSK, so we had this lean canvas, right? So, in an agile methodology. So, before starting anything, I have told my team also, no, we won't start anything unless we get a lean canvas, which is a single-page document, which we co-own, right? So, there is the business lead, the business executive member, then IT, and then the IT, basically I sign it, right? So, there's a lean canvas which captures the problem, the value it is going to create again. And so that's how we start our journey. And there is a regular mechanism in terms of like a fortnightly checkup, and maybe a monthly one at a senior leader. So that's the governance which we have set up internally within our business. Yeah.
Sumit, back to you on this. Now, one more point which we have been talking about is about what are some of the levers that we can play around as leaders in our organization. What are some of the levers that we have for a sustained growth or a sustained long-term value from AI? How do you see some of those playing out or actioning out on the ground as you embark this journey of AI in your organization?
I think definitely a change management would have a critical role in that to play, I would say, definitely. I think, like I said, we start as a small experiment with one of our sites, and maybe that success, or maybe in terms of making people aware what that site is doing, again, as part of the change management, what were the benefits, and maybe hear directly from the people who are getting impacted by the change. I think so that type of things, at least in our set of environment, would be much more, I would say, in terms of have a much more impact in terms of, so that's, I would say, one thing would be very, very critical for us, I think. Yeah.
Brilliant. So long term, I think change management, we did talk about the upskilling of both, not just the tech team, but also from the business side on that. You see that a change management office kind of a thing, I just talked about analytics transformation office, so a dedicated change management avatars or gurus that just be hosted in such kind of an office to ensure that they drive these kind of change management activities at a regular basis.
Right. So in my team, like I have a change manager, right? So because we are running not only AI, but there are 7, 8 different initiatives, like as for HANA, maybe quality automation, manufacturing, or EDP, MDM. So there are almost 8 or 10 different, I would say, parallel initiatives running. S/4HANA is definitely one. AI is definitely on the top. I would say two. So that's the reason we have a dedicated, I would say, a change manager who basically works on all these deliverables, working in terms of mapping stakeholders, mapping the impact assessment, again in terms of the comms and engagement, working with HR. So there's a comprehensive, I would say, change management, I would say, policies or execution which we are doing at a ground level.
Brilliant. How can we as organizations, leaders, enable such kind of a scale in a more responsible way?
You're right. I think the impact to a brand can be quite catastrophic if it's not handled very well. I would only add that the things are complex, right? And sometimes,
Spot on.
yeah, it's more a black box at times, right? So, how do you put in, as you rightly said, guardrails and to ensure that you have certain control checks, at all levels is important. Eliminating bias is an important element in that space. How do you train models to not to be move in that? Of course, there will be many scenarios where that's not so relevant, but in a lot of the others it may become, right. So I think understanding the use case and trying to see where it's probably more relevant and putting in extra effort and maybe a third, I wouldn't say third party, but third party within the organization to review it could be a good mechanism
hack.
to do it, right.
Brilliant.
How do we quantify the impact, in terms of qualitative as well as quantitative measures? Any guidelines?
Perspective on impact, qualitative and quantitative. Yeah.
The impact is a continuous journey, right? It's not something that will end today. So, and I mean, it would be something that you would manage continuously, right? And the frames would be very different. I don't think just productivity will get us anywhere, right? But whether it is revenue generation, right? In some cases, improving customer experience and hence lead conversions. So these would be the business metrics that you would really look at to be able to measure, the AI impact.
So from the senior management perspective, what do you see, which are the use cases which needs enhancements and which ones to be prioritized?
So the question is that there are already certain AI use cases. With Gen AI coming in, which existing use cases needs potential enhancements?
The one the CEO wants.
Yeah, once the CEO wants, of course.
So I think, yeah, right. I think what we do is we have a framework, a metric, right, which one of the things that we probably didn't discuss in AI, and especially when you move on to scale, is cost, right, and that's probably the elephant in the room, right, because it can go in a lot of directions given the usage that would happen. So what we do is we have a metrics, typical thing where we would prioritize in terms of value, in terms of cost, and in terms of time. I think it's important to get some early wins and try and see whether the culture and the hunger becomes more. But at the same time, you have to really be mindful about not getting lost in cost dynamics and becoming unsustainable in the future, right? So continuing to invest on the ones that are earning you more dollars, I think will be the order of the day.
That how do we ensure and what are the best practices where we ensure that there is a automated governance, real-time governance happening, and we are ensuring that the AI-based decisions that are being made by AI are something that we as leaders, not just our teams and our customers, but first we as leaders can trust to deploy it not at a pilot level, but put it into production. And I'm talking about the complex frameworks that are evolving, not the cursor type of use cases, but something which is where we want to transform a function.
Sure. No, I think I'll take up quickly and add up here. So see, I think first of all, getting the answers right is very critical on that. And that's where, the joke that goes around is that the development time and the testing time is almost the same. In fact, in many cases, the test time or the testing time is much higher because people need to get this comfort that this is not hallucinating, this is not biased, this is not throwing some outputs which are not acceptable to the organization or the workforce there. So based on the use case, as you design the use case, somebody talked about the quantification of the impact as well. To me, all these are part of your use case design. When you just talk about use case, it is not that what problem is it solving, to what extent it can solve, the quantification. How will we measure this? Can we have in a marketing, let's say a test and run, test and control kind of a scenario there? Now the challenge comes in, okay, it can solve this. How can I trust it? That comes in the testing part, be it your classical validations of the models of your ML algorithms, or in the Gen AI world, your the explainability or the various tests that you need to do, the test cases that you need to prepare, a thoroughness of those test cases, that becomes critical on that front. So that is on the one that would help at least this. Your auto governance, it's an important point. You need to have it. It can be possible that every time there is a manual governance as well, but it has to go hand in hand. I would call it as a bionic, machine plus human coming into the picture, and that's what will have a complete governance there.